Hi, welcome to Big Guy Boards. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Lost Uber Driver XL. So this is coming from the Lost Driver family of boards. So Matt Barlas has done the Driver, the Uber Driver, which you can look up the difference between those two. This is the Uber XL. So this is specifically designed as a daily driver for guys who need a bit more volume or someone who's carrying a bit more weight. So the kind of conditions this board is designed for are, it's meant to sit just above your gravel board and just below your high performance short board. So I've tested it in a range of conditions. I've had it in really small waves, kind of approaching gravel waves, so around waist high, maybe slightly bigger with not really very much push. So I didn't really struggle paddling into the wave, but actually getting up and riding the wave, I really found it difficult to maintain speed and get down the line. So I would say, from my experience, this isn't really, you don't want to be using this as a full-on gravel board, but that's not what it's been designed for really. At the far end of that spectrum, I've also had it in quite bigger waves as well. So definitely solid overhead waves, not quite double overhead, but some really solid sets. On those waves, I found it a bit of a struggle as well. Just making a drop and taking the first bottom turn. I felt like the rail didn't really want to engage. It felt kind of squirrely as well. I didn't really trust it to push really hard on the turn. I'm not sure exactly what to put that down to. Looking at some of the board's features, I have a feeling it might be to do with the width of the board and the overall kind of wide outline, where it kind of comes in at the tail, but then there's a bit of more width up the front here, which I think maybe makes it more difficult for the rail to engage when it gets a bit more solid. I might be wrong there, that's just a theory. It could be something completely different, but it's the kind of board that I wouldn't really trust in really solid, well overhead waves. But generally in those conditions, that's the kind of waves you'd want to be riding a kind of high performance or just approaching, depending on what you class as a step up. You wouldn't really be wanting to ride a board like this in those conditions anyway. So I wouldn't recommend getting this board for those kind of conditions. The kind of conditions this absolutely flies in, the sort of things that generally people have around 80% of the time, which is your average stomach to chest high, up to a bit overhead, average waves, can be crumbly, don't have to be particularly clean, but the board definitely needs a bit of face to go to as you're getting in the lower end of that scale. You can't really have a fat, really small wave for this. It needs some push, but you can generate the speed on it. Some design features which I noticed with this. So I got this based on riding the Lost El Patron, which is more of a high performance shape with more volume in it for bigger guys. And the kind of tail template for this, the tail outline, almost completely matches the El Patron to give you that performance. And that's something I really noticed almost instantly with this board, was the level of performance I got out of it was, it was mind-blowing actually. And it's one of those boards that when you're on the kind of right waves that it's designed for, it felt to me to be completely effortless. It was just almost like there was no barrier between me and the wave. It just felt so easy to ride, and still able to do all the turns you want to do, still able to get it vertical. It feels really good on the open face as well. Almost to the point really where when I started riding it, I was thinking, is this a good board? Is it? I couldn't find any faults with it, but I was struggling to really think. It was almost like it was just not there. It's that good, I think. It's just one of those magic boards for me. It's absolutely amazing in the conditions it's meant for. It's brilliant. And based on that, I found there's a little bit of overlap on this between this board and the Lost El Patron. So some of the waves I'd usually start riding the Lost El Patron in, I'm still on this on. I'd want to stay on this up to the point where I wouldn't really want to trust it. So getting up to until it gets to really solid overhead, I'd want to be on this, and I'd kind of be leaving the El Patron. The El Patron is an awesome board, and I absolutely love it. But this is almost have the same performance levels as the El Patron, but it's just easier to surf. Yeah, and like I say, it's almost like it completely goes out of your mind. It's completely effortless and thoughtless actually riding it. A slight difference I'd say between this and the El Patron. So as a comparison, this has got more width, which is carried probably from the middle right through to the nose. There's a lot more width carried through the front of the board. So obviously that's to get you in and get you down the line on slightly smaller, weaker waves. You are slightly sacrificing the ease at getting the board to the, doing the entries and getting it vertical, but it's not hardly noticeable at all. And as I say, with the pulled in tail, it just feels really easy to do anyway. So overall, it's a fantastic board. Fin wise, I've been riding it as a thruster. I just got it as a thruster. I'm not even sure if it comes as a 5 fin or a quad actually, but any kind of short board template like this, I would always ride as a thruster anyway for that added control. The volume I've been riding, so we've just dropped a bit of weight slightly, so now I think my high performance short board will now be around 40 litres. So I'm getting rid of the El Patron because there's so much crossover with this, and I'm going for another high performance board, which I'll do another review on when I decide what I want. But basically the volume for this is just over 43 litres, which probably sits just above my high performance volume. I slightly tweaked the dimensions, so this is 6'4", 21.75, 2.85. I think I just made it like a slither wider and a slither thicker just to get that volume up. I prefer to have the width and thickness rather than add the length. So yeah, just over 43 litres, which for me has been fine. Yeah, so to summarise, it is an absolutely awesome board, to the point where it's just effortless, and there's no thought in the surfing at all. You can still do the high performance surfing, and if you have it in the waves that it's designed for, I haven't found a fault with it yet. So that's it. Thanks for watching. That's the Lost Uber XL.